I've got a little bit of a debate to stir up here.
Oh boy.
So no, this is it's not going to be inflammatory. Okay?
I want the
Damn it.
I want the debate.
Yeah,
I'll
we want
make it
inflammatory.
inflammatory.
All right,
Yeah.
so
Jinx, you owe me a
have
soda.
there really
How about a
been?
beer?
But first,
That's-
I'm asking
better.
to see if this works. Have there really been any large scale theatrically released fantasy epics since this movie?
Since this movie.
Not
None are coming to
not
mind.
really.
Wait, when was this movie? I'm sorry.
2017. May.
2017
Epic fantasy
May 12th, I
movies
think.
since this movie.
So we're not counting shows, movies.
Yes, yeah, because
They've
my
moved to shows.
yeah, my question is, do we think fantasy has sort of become a TV medium now,
Interesting.
or do we think there's going to be a comeback for the fantasy film?
Well,
I think for franchises like, the Wizarding World, we'll still get movies.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder, too, if,
But that's a different, I see that, but when I think of epic fantasy, the Harry Potter is not really what I think. Like Lord of the Rings,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Game
Lord
of
of the
Thrones.
like
Game of
knights and
I
Yeah,
believe I kind of feel like TV or streaming services may be the new outlet because I think there may be more creative freedom.
Yeah.
I think especially with films, you're limited with runtime with the story you can
Yeah.
tell. Whereas with the series, there's more room to play around with things. I also
Right.
think Game of Thrones changed the landscape for
Definitely.
fantasy
Yeah,
television
yeah.
and what you could do
And,
with
like,
television.
just like the way Thrones set up its world
Right.
would
Yes.
sort of be impossible in a
Right.
feature format.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, when Game of Thrones was first starting to come into play as a medium to watch, they were going to do a movie, but then decided to do a TV show because you could do more with a TV show than with.
I think that was a good move. Like even when you think about the Chronicle of Narnia films, which in my opinion the first one was the best, and they all kind of petered out. I think Netflix has bought the rights, and I think they will be adapting it.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see how that will go.
And it's not just Game of Thrones. It's not, it's
Lord of the Rings is on TV
Lord of the
now,
Rings
too.
now,
Yeah.
but then you have Shadow and Bone.
Yes.
You have His Dark Materials.
Yes.
They're doing the Court of Thorns and Roses series, too,
Yes, which unfortunately I don't have Hulu,
Sandman.
but
Just get Hulu. You got my password.
aw, that would be sweet if they ever
I'm
do it.
honestly really scared to watch. A Court
Scared,
of
but
Thorns and Roses.
It won't erase the books. Just
No, but I have an image in my head of what these people.
But maybe they won't
like.
disappoint us. But I'm really happy because I love fantasy.
Yes.
Like a lot of the times, like if you tell me fantasy, sold. Like you don't need to tell me anything else. I'm watching it. Lord of the Rings is one of my favorite series. What they were able to do with those films, the beauty of it, the musical score, the set design, everything, that's gorgeous cinema. And that's why I love fantasy. And I really believe that maybe, I would love to see some great epic films coming out.
So,
my
on a slightly related note, my senior thesis at Purchase College was about the historical epic and its future.
Yeah.
And I broke down everything from Gladiator. It was a small amount of time. It was from 2000 on, and how Gladiator was this massive success that rejuvenated the epic, but it was sort of misguided because, within 3 years, because they took longer to make back then because there was a lot of practical. You had Alexander, you had King Arthur, you had Troy, you had Kingdom of Heaven, you had The New World by Terrence Malick. And
The New World was such a beautiful film.
And they all struggled. Like Troy was a success.
Yeah.
But my whole theory was the next one coming up is Robin Hood, Ridley Scott's Robin Hood. And if anything can revive the genre, would be the guy who revived the genre.
I think also if you're going to sort of revive it with figures of myth and legend like Robin Hood, which is very much, he's for the everyday man, so to speak, for lack of a better phrase, I think you will have some success because I think people want to feel as if there is someone fighting for me, that even, and especially considering the times that we're living in globally and whatever, I think you need to have that hope that even during the ugliest and darkest of times, there is that hope that things can be changed.
Counterpoint to that. Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. Those are pretty bleak shows at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Mainly about powerful families just screwing each other over, and in the process making life worse.
Yeah, yeah.
But I guess, though, even within those conniving, manipulative meetings, there's probably someone there that says, I can make a difference in their lives.
Rhaenyra wants to make a difference.
I think that might be going out the window this season.
It's shifted
So
now.
is Succession like modern day Game of Thrones?
Pretty much.
I've never
Yeah.
watched it.
I love Succession.
Yeah,
Amazing
it's very
show.
Okay.
So, like, an answer to your question, Joe, I feel like I feel like fantasy, like the genre of fantasy, has gone to TV and
Yeah.
streaming, and I think they're better for it because you can have like an hour-long episode, and it's because House of Dragon is like an hours long of 10 episodes for a season, and you get a lot
Yes.
out of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually a better way to have a fantasy genre than
Yeah.
having like a 2-hour and some odd movie where
But-
you have to squeeze everything in.
Yeah.
While I adore House of the Dragon, and while
Mm-hmm.
it looks amazing, it is very much a TV show.
Yes.
At the end of the day, it
Well,
is
sure,
people
absolutely.
standing in rooms saying things like, "What would you have me do?"
Yeah.
And I adore that. I love that. to death.
Right.
But like, part of me is like, it would be cool to get something with like these kind of themes, these kinds of characters on like a epic grand adventure scale.
Right.
Imagine
Well,
if
I mean,
Ridley
like,
Scott was
do you
doing this.
do
Yeah,
you feel
like-
do you feel the same way with like The Witcher, or
I
with
haven't watched The Witcher.
Oh,
I played
okay.
The Witcher 3, and
Yeah.
that was
you
great
should watch
experience.
The
the
Witcher-
series. It's good.
Also does look like a TV show,
Okay.
but I still.
In what sense? And I'm being genuine about it. Like,
TV
Like
tends to be, they didn't have sets they return to. Like, things get reused a lot because, like, you build something once and it costs a lot of money.
okay.
And so you're
Yeah.
going to use that in every episode, God damn it.
oh, okay. I see.
Like, I
Whereas
know-
with movies, because you're not making as much content, so you're paying people less hours.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Like,
All right. Okay.
And sorry, that's very true though too, because in Game of Thrones they filmed out in like for King's Landing they filmed out in Croatia, and
Yes.
they returned to a lot of places, but dressed it up differently to try and show a different part of King's Landing.
Yes.
So I definitely understand.
And like I said, I have no problem with that. I
Yeah.
love that stuff. But, like, part of me is just like, I'd like to see some of the other flavor, too.
yeah,
Am
yeah.
I ignorant? So I've always in my mind and in my like really like failed screenplay writing hobby. For me, TV is talking about the plot, and cinema is never talking about the plot. Am I wrong?
I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
no, I agree
pretty
with
good.
that.
I
Yeah.
could see that. Yeah.
That's a good distinction.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know enough yet. I feel like to really stand by that, like make that a tattoo or anything. I feel like in movies you're not talking about the subject necessarily, even though the story's telling you about the subject.
And it
through
could be
art
the
of cinema.
constraints of time, like how,
Yeah.
like do you want it to be 2 hours or like a 5-hour thing where you're following,
Sort of just like TV, TVs are big now, obviously.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
can pull off more ambitious cinematography.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, back in the day when you're shooting for, like, something people are going to watch on, like, a 12-inch screen,
Mm-hmm.
you have to make that image clear. Like, you have to make it very clear.
Yeah.
There's really not a whole lot of room to do
No.
very fancy stuff.
Filmmakers are making their shots based on watching it on a phone.
Oh, what about
Yeah.
speaking of which? Wouldn't you consider Dune? Like, I know Dune is probably more sci-fi.
That's a good argument, because Dune is really sort of like the meeting point of sci-fi and fantasy. So.
Yeah, it's sort of like Game of Thrones-esque, but like
Yeah.
intergalactic, like. Or you could even talk about what about the Star Wars movies? I know people might argue that's not sci-fi,
No,
that's
they're
not
fantasy
fan.
movies.
No,
So,
yeah.
They're not
like,
sci-fi.
like that could be like another.
They're fantasy westerns.
I think
Yeah.
Dune
Yeah.
probably is a better example
Yeah.
because I feel like franchises like Wizarding World, like Star Wars,
Yeah.
they're gonna have a lifespan in cinema just
Yeah.
because of their history.
Yeah.
I
Dune had like a failed movie that no one's too crazy about.
Because also, like,
And
yeah.
I read Dune, and it took me a long time to read that book, but I wanted to set that goal for myself. it was very difficult to read because you have to first understand the philosophy the book is trying to sort of talk about. There are a lot of characters, a lot of like political maneuverings. It's not a really easy book to read, first of all. And they were saying how it's not an easy book to even adapt.
No. I'm amazed they did so well. I cannot wait for part 2. Oh my god. You never get to make Messiah, goddammit.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know, but I was so proud when I finally read the first one, but it's not, like they were talking about how like it's not easy to adapt.
Really tweaked by this. There really hasn't been. Since King Arthur, has there?
No.
I mean, there was the Green Knight, there was the Last Duel, and there was the King.
It's like
not fantasy.
Green Knight fantasy, but like I don't know. Lowry's like trying to do like a pitch upon with that one. It feels like he's not going for that same sort of like adventure tone.
Yeah, and they also weren't. They also, to your point, I think they weren't really commercially.
Yeah, they weren't mega
successful.
budgeted blockbusters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was that other amazing kids movie, Kid Who Would Be King. It's by the guy who made Attack the Block.
Oh my god!
And it's just it's lovely, but that was like in I think 2018 in the winter, maybe 2019 in the winter, and it's lovely. I think you'd like it, but there really hasn't been any more.
And what I'm noticing too is that a lot of like they were talking about like YA, since I collect in the YA area, like I always look to see what's being adapted. And there were a lot of YA franchises where they were adapted for cinema and did poorly, like the
big boom after Hunger Games.
Yeah, like Hunger Games was one of the few that was actually successful. Like they tried Divergent, never really went anywhere. Cassandra Clare's Mortal Instruments series was one film that didn't do well, so that eventually moved into a television show, which I think may have been 3 seasons, which was pretty successful. Spiderwick series is now being remade.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's coming to Netflix because it was a film. I don't think it did too well. Now they're making it into a TV series. There were a few failed attempts because once the Hunger Games were made and it showed the potential for success, then every series was being adapted. But I think the move towards streaming services or TV, for example, another one that was Vampire Academy, I think they made 1 or 2 films, did not do well. Now they've adapted it into a television series, which I believe is doing very well.
Yeah. I do want to say, though, I want to make one slight correction.
Yes.
Twilight was before Hunger Games. So after Twilight was made and was very successful, then it was Hunger Games.
I just associated a lot with the dystopian YA boom.
Yeah.
So, but I guess the trend really starts with Twilight.
But let's face it, Twilight, we can't talk about the history of cinema without talking about Twilight now.
And this can be cut too. We're gonna do a revisit series.
You can't avoid Michael Bay. You can't avoid Twilight.
Twilight has given us 2 of our best current actors. So.
Yeah.
True.
Taylor Lautner.
What has he been up to?
I'm just kidding. Who knows?
Was it in my imagination?
I shouldn't.
Did I dream this, or did he marry a woman?
Yeah, he got
Taylor?
married recently. Yeah, and they're also named Taylor.
Amazing. Mm-hmm. So they're both Taylor Lautner now.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's great. I love
Oh my God.
Taylor.
Good for the Lautners.
Yeah, so I think there may be that push towards, going into a streaming service or even television, because I think of the freedom that you have with those, not venues, that's the wrong word to use, but you have more freedom with that versus with a film, you're a bit more constrained.
That's a fine word to use.
Oh, thank you. So I think that's where I probably see us getting our next, fantasy epic.
You know what was an amazing fantasy film? Stardust.
Yes.
Yes. Underrated also.
Loved
Another
it.
underrated,
Absolutely
yeah.
loved it.
I read the, was it a graphic? No, it was a novel with images, but it's not a graphic novel. I read that, and when I watched the film, I was kind of I'm a little disappointed. I don't know.
I heard it was very different from the book.
Yeah.
But it was very good.
Yeah.
I'm really bugged about this, Joe. King Arthur
I was thinking
not only
about
failed,
it. I was
but
sitting
killed.
on this for 10 minutes, and I was like, I'm gonna.
Well,
I'm gonna
even
bring it
now
up.
they're making the Willow series, which is a sequel to the '80s Willow film.
Yeah.
Which I love that.
Are they bringing
movie.
Warwick back?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, Warwick
Yes.
is coming back.
Yeah.
Val Kilmer is not. The woman who played Sorsha in the original movie is coming back for the series.
I saw a really funny quote
Who's
from
Val
Warwick
Kilmer's
Davis
wife?
where he was
Yes.
I don't think I can do do a Leprechaun movie until my children are 18. And I was like, bro, it's Leprechaun. It's not that scary. It's fine.
Yeah.
Are you getting into like a dark headspace to play the evil Leprechaun? Like.
So there's definitely been this reason where now they're like really like Netflix did one of my favorite movies is Dark Crystal, and they did the series which is the prequel, but
How was that?
It was amazing.
Really?
You
Like-
weren't into it?
You know what I think it was what was throwing me off, and I'll be perfectly honest about it. It's gonna probably make me sound dumb, but so the Skeksis, I found them gross. Like in the first film, they are gross too, but there was like this one scene where one of the Skeksis is literally snot is just pouring out of her nose. And as I'm watching it, I'm like, oh my God, this is making me ill. And I had to stop watching it. So I'm sorry, because I felt so bad, because I was like, ooh, Dark Crystal. I love the Dark Crystal. Prequel story, fantasy. Maybe I need to revisit it.
Is it all still puppets in the...
Yes.
That's good.
That's also was part of the draw, that they were returning to the puppets. I was like, great, you're not CGIing this, because I would have
And
Not watched it.
not watched it.
done by Louis Leterrier.
Yeah,
Who'd
I
have
gotta
thought?
give it a second chance. A part of me also was like, you didn't have to remake
What
it.
is,
You know, it was
what's
kind of
the
that
name?
too. So-
He did The Incredible Hulk. He
It's
did
a
The
prequel
Transporter.
series.
Yeah, I know.
He did.
They're not
He's
rebooting
doing the
the
next
movie.
Fast
I
and
also
Furious
think
movie. He's
his
an
voice
action
acting is
director
kinda throwing me
through and
off.
through.
Oh.
Did he do the one
But I
with
gotta
Jet
give it a
Li,
shot.
Unleashed?
Yeah,
Was that
I
also
think you
his?
should.
Wow, this guy is...
Ooh,
Yeah,
maybe
no,
we
he's
could
B
discuss
action
that.
movie guy all the way.
Yeah.
I love him.
Never.
He's
Well,
great.
I have seen the Dark Crystal.
I'm
It
like
wasn't bad.
so ignorant when it
Oh.
comes to like being.
So you wouldn't want
action
to? Oh, did you
Well, The
watch
Incredible
the
Hulk with
Netflix
Ed
show though?
Norton. That
No.
was his.
Oh,
And that's a
okay.
wonderful Marvel movie. I love that Marvel movie. I never
Okay,
not
never mind.
watched that. God, so fantasy has basically been transferred over to comic book movies, and that's
Pretty
where we get our
much.
fantasy now.
Oh, comic book movies. I'm casting my tea leaves, and I'm seeing they're about to expire.
I hope
Give
they
it a
slow down
couple
little bit, at
years,
least,
because
yeah.
Marvel is not doing great right
Yeah.
now. They
Is
seem to
Black
sort of be
Panther
folding.
Marvel?
I think.
Yes.
Well,
It's-
I watched the Black Panther because I've never seen Black Panther, but I watched the trailer for the second film. I was like, this was making me emotional. I said I may have to watch.
The first
at
one's
least
really
this
good.
film.
The first
It
one
is.
is
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
I'm actually really looking
I-
forward to Wakanda Forever.
I was excited. The first screening buzz has me trepidatious.
Oh yeah.
People keep saying things like, I need to let this marinate, which is usually...
Not a good sign.
I don't want to say I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually what
But,
it means.
however, could just be I'm seeing selective takes. So,
So,
I'm in a corner of the internet that doesn't like Marvel very much. So, like, that's...
And I feel
I'm-
bad too. It's kind of like when and I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
it's me you interrupted, not him.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's go. I'm kidding.
Um.
Oh, you make me feel like I'm not kidding, but I was totally kidding.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Sometimes I can't read the room very well. But I think it's also like one of the things with the Marvel films. I think it's not like when we see an actor everywhere, and then you start to hate the actor just simply because he's everywhere, not because he can't act. Or he's just like you're everywhere, so that people like just start hating on the. Maybe that's what's happening to Marvel.
well, I think it's also too. It's fatigue.
Yeah, I
Oh.
think asking everyone to watch the TV shows, too, was
Yeah.
a miscalculation.
It's too much. Yeah.
Oh.
Honestly, though, I got lit up by one of my cousins about 5 years ago because I was making the argument. I guess it's not a good argument, but I really loved Batman vs Superman more than Captain America: Civil War, and I was trying to lay out my points why, and
Batman v
I
Superman's
was
a better movie.
I was getting buried by the internet on Facebook, and I wasn't like being mean, I wasn't being sarcastic, I was just like on a visual medium. The beauty of Batman vs Superman just far outdid. I love the storylines of Marvel at that point. I loved the
Yeah.
introduction of Spider-Man, but it's like it was a bland, ugly movie.
The
and me saying
pre-phased
that was like,
action stuff kills me in Marvel movies.
yeah, and I just got lit up. But my stance, I think, still exists. I think DC does more interesting movies because I think they're not locked down to having to follow this one
Yeah,
storyline.
I could see that.
So you get things
Yeah.
like Peacemaker, The Suicide Squad. You get like the closest like to the Marvel movie I think would be Aquaman. It was pretty damn fun, and you made
And hey, the hierarchy of power in the DC universe is changing.
That is a bad one. I haven't watched it yet to confirm.
I just thought The Rock's build up to it was so funny because like you could tell for some reason he felt very strongly about Black Adam, but like the only thing he'd say for like months is like, you know, he's actually like
2
stronger
words.
than Superman. Did you know that?
I'm sorry, who's Black Adam? Because
he's a DC character.
Yeah.
The movie just came out, stars The Rock.
Oh, okay.
In the principal role.
And like
the next
Dune,
one, Superman's
they're going to
gonna be
try and
fighting.
tell us that it's a success, even though it's not.
Yeah.
Is that character from like another planet? Like
DC,
I
yeah.
don't know that
He's had-
character.
he's
at
had
all.
few-
He's from space. I don't know.
He's one of the Shazams.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's supposed to fight Shazam.
Oh, so he's like anti-hero Shazam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he's an angry old man
Yeah.
instead of just an innocent kid. But man, yeah, DC does better. I think DC.
Yeah.
I've been more interested in what they've been doing.
I think I'm just worn out with all superhero movies.
It just like
Like-
it didn't have to be everything, guys.
Yeah.
You know?
See now,
Could've-
what I started doing was like I stopped watching the movies and I started watching the TV shows, and I have to say that She-Hulk: Attorney at Law is a really great TV series.
I've heard good things.
It's
I enjoyed
so
it, yeah.
good, but I think just like because I've seen almost every Marvel movie from the first Iron Man, and I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
And I found myself only being interested in the post-credit scenes. Like, just show me how all this connects, so that I can just wait for the next one. And then all I cared about in that one was how does all this connect, you know? And now we've gotten to a point where like we're looking at characters that I don't even care about.
That's why it's refreshing to just walk into James Gunn's The
Agreed.
Suicide Squad.
Agreed. Yeah.
And you just have a story sitting by itself.
Yeah.
And it's really excellent.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of with you with the DC stuff. Just because it's just a movie on its own that I can just enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have to worry about this whole bigger universe where I need to subscribe to Disney Plus to figure out something about Loki that isn't even pivotal to the rest of the storyline anyway. Especially the WandaVision stuff. I
hated that series.
Yeah.
You didn't like it?
Everything in WandaVision got erased with that horrible
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange movie. Yeah.
That movie was.
It's like, so
Which is why I stopped watching the movies.
Yeah. I was like, what was the point of any of this?
Yeah.
To get me to watch and
So
subscribe.
I'm feeling your pain now because like I've never really watched any of the films,
Yeah.
so I feel for you guys now. You're
Yeah.
just
Well,
done.
So I
Like I
agree.
said-
I think Marvel has kind of a rude awakening coming.
Yeah, the
No.
tea
For
leaves
that.
are saying.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean the
DC might be having a rude awakening too, depending on if Discovery gets their act together or not.
They
But-
did. Now James Gunn is the showrunner.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Like James Gunn and some other guy who's more the corporate side.
So look, I don't wish ill upon that endeavor, but it does remind me of when I think Paramount let Ernst Lubitsch run the studio for a year, and he destroyed it.
That's true, but he is only running DC Comics.
Okay.
He's
So
only in that division, and so I'm looking forward to it.
And I mean Superman is supposed to be the next. I think it's confirmed that Superman is going to fight Black Adam in the next movie or something.
Not the next. It's not going to be the next step, but Superman's going to have his own movie, and apparently he's going to be really joyous, cool, happy Superman, which I don't think I want. I want
yeah?
the Superman that Henry Cavill's been giving us.
See,
you
now
want the angry Christ.
Yeah.
The one who's confused about
Yeah.
why humanity's so stupid and doesn't understand why
You
he
want
should be
Last
helping.
Temptation of Superman.
Yeah.
I liked Man of Steel because it showed him as a human being and not as what the comic books.
I'm not huge on
Depicted.
Man of Steel, but I did really like him
Why?
in Batman v Superman.
Why?
I don't know, I'm just not
Why?
big on Man of Steel.
Why?
I don't like Pa Kent in it. I think Pa Kent's awful in it.
the only films I've seen were with Christopher Reeves, and I enjoy those Superman films.
I love the first Christopher Reeves.
I kind of feel like we should go back to the joyous Superman because how can
No.
he be the hope of mankind if he has lost all hope? That's the whole point.
He
Is
hasn't
that
lost hope in the
but
Snyder
Superman
one, so.
cannot have a crisis of conscience right
Snyder-
now. We need him to be the hero that saves mankind.
But isn't it?
No, I'm just being contradictory
okay.
for the sake of it.
I'm just going with the argument of, but isn't it more moving to see the hero of mankind be relatably human and die?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
But yeah, I really like him in Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
Though I think he's very cool in that.
And then you just get into the actual Justice League Snyder cut.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
my
still
God.
haven't watched it. That 4-hour
Yes.
running time spooks me, but
Well,
You
it's broken
just-
down to chapters. Just
I
watch
know,
it like a TV
but
series.
like it's just.
So if you watch it
I'm
in
seeing 4
Maybe the
hours
next time I
when
come
I
over your
scroll
house, we'll watch
over
those
it and I
movies.
say
Joe, you really gotta watch it. You really
Which
have to
Mission
watch
Impossible was Cavill in? Was that Rogue Nation?
Is that-
No, Rogue Nation was the one with the greatest Mission Possible segment of all time, the opera scene.
Yeah,
He was in Fallout as August Walker.
he was a badass in that.
he reloads his fists like
Yeah.
shotguns in that.
Now,
right?
if you want to talk about the most perfectly paced action movie ever made, it's Mission Possible Fallout.
It might be.
It gives you a
Yeah.
15-minute opening, which is
Yeah.
all the exposition, all of this is what you have to do, this is where we have to go,
Yeah.
and it gives you the slow moment,
Yeah.
and then, bam,
Did
it
they-
never stops from that point
Is
on.
there a franchise you can think of that completely revamped in a better way? Because like, I don't know. For me, Mission Impossible 2 was weak. Mission Impossible 3 was weak.
That's where it revamped, though.
With-
That's where Ethan Hunt became the character that he is, that we're living with.
I mean, but then the fourth one was like the one where they actually executed it.
That's when Tom Cruise really leaned into the own stunts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he realized that no one likes him anymore unless he almost kills himself on screen.
And it all paid off, because look at Top Gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
That was fun.
They let him
No.
fly the planes, Katie.
No.
No one else is doing that for us.
Then they're idiots.
Oh,
No.
He is the greatest movie star of all time.
but do you
No.
think he can act?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you watch Collateral? Did you watch Jerry Maguire?
Oh my God, he's so scary in Collateral.
Mhm.
No,
He
I'm
plays
just
himself.
I'm just throwing it out there. I have no like stake in this game. I'm
he's
just
astounding in Magnolia.
okay because people have
seen
questioned
that.
basically that he just sort of
I think.
cruises his weight like that.
Hey.
I didn't know that one
There.
actually wasn't, but
Oh,
I'll
sure,
take.
sure.
But that he's not as talented as people make him
I
seem
think
to be.
he is a talented movie star most of the time, in that he's very charming on screen and he's a likable screen presence. I think he can be a great actor when he wants to, but I don't think he's particularly interested in that anymore.
Yeah.
Bruce Springsteen is very good on a guitar, but he doesn't show it all the time because he wants to just make a great song. He doesn't want to show his guitar skills.
I
Look at it
still
that
think
way.
Mission Impossible, the first movie, is better than all of these sequels. I don't understand why they had to make so many
Wait,
sequels.
seriously? Have you seen like four? How many are there now? 7?
There's too many.
There's 6,
6?
and there's 7.
You've seen 4, 5, and 6? They're
Yeah.
really excellent. Like
I'm.
I feel
oh,
like she's not telling us the truth.
You big De Palma
The
head?
way she said yes was like, yeah.
because I actually think those 3 are even better than the first one.
No, I wouldn't agree.
I think Rogue Nation is by a hair the best of all the Mission Possibles and the best movie that came out in 2015. And that's against Mad Max, that's against
Well, I already disagree then.
Ex Machina, that's
Fury-
against
Fury
Force
Road.
Wait,
Awakens.
you're saying 2015?
2015,
All
magic
right.
year.
All right, wait. Let's
Fury
see
Road
what
to me
came
was
out
a
in 2015.
perfect movie.
Fury Road was a perfect movie.
Yeah.
Rogue Nation was more perfect. Perfect. It was just entire. Yeah, it was. And they introduced Ilsa Faust, who's the best Mission Impossible character.
Yeah.
All right. Tangerine came out 2015.
Mission Impossible Rogue Nation is better.
Chirac came out 2015.
Okay, we're not talking about art house films here.
Spike Lee is not art house. Spike is an entertainer.
Ben, I think Ben disagrees.
If Spike is art house,
None of
what is what I watch?
Spike Lee's
Yeah.
last movie that got released in the summertime. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about blockbusters. Christmas time, summertime. Big.
Black Lantern was Christmas time.
Yeah, but it wasn't a 4,000 screen release. It was film festivals.
No, I saw Black Klansman in the local Regal cinema.
Yeah, I think I did too, actually.
In December. Or did you see
Whenever-
it in January
whenever
when
it
it,
came
when it
out,
had a
I
full
guess.
wide release? Yeah.
Guys, I'm sorry.
You gotta go?
I should have left at like 3:00.
That's okay. We're gonna keep going because this is now
This is a
getting
bonus
real.
episode. Now.
This is a bonus.
Yeah. 2015, Mad Max Fury Road, excellent.
It was the best movie.
Force
released that
Awakens, excellent. Steve Jobs, excellent. Ex Machina, pretty good.
year. Fury Road should have won every Oscar.
It
that
won
year.
most of them.
It did. Yeah.
The Martian, excellent.
yeah.
Mission Impossible is still the best movie.
Creed was 2015.
Creed, excellent. Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation, still the best.
If you put Tom Hardy in Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation, it might be the best movie of the year.
He wouldn't belong. He didn't even belong in Mad Max. I
disagree.
He was trying to fail that movie. He was hamming it up like a cartoon character.
No, I thought he was great in that.
Man, I'm reading the production of that. Have you been reading?
I have to
Gordon
read
Crumb?
that book. Yeah. I hear just wild.
Not great, Bob.
Did he not want to do it?
Oh no, he did not.
And why did he do it?
Because he contract.
Well, at what point did it start off with, this is awesome, I want to do it, to the point where I just want to leave as soon as I
So
can?
apparently the shoot was like
Intense.
6 months, and
Yeah.
all they were doing was driving in a circle in the desert.
Yeah.
Like it was driving them crazy.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he had like fights with Charlize Theron and stuff like that, which he gets a lot of crap for, but they've made up.
Yeah.
Like they both were just like, it was an intense filming experience. We were in the middle of the desert. It was 115 degrees. We were pissed off at George Romero. And
George Romero was the zombies guy, right?
Yeah, who am I thinking of?
I can't. George, other guy.
Art
Miller.
Yeah, Happy Feet.
Yeah.
Happy feet.
Yeah. And so they jawed at each other, and like I guess it got scary at one point.
How nuts is Tom Hardy in that? You basically, his Eddie Brock is a living example of how he feels as a human being now, I think.
Yeah.
Because
You don't have to stay
yeah,
here.
I've left it before.
Yeah. If
I'm gonna go.
That year, the Mad Max Fury Road
I may
troubles,
come
right?
after. I'll be there in a bit.
And then there's also he apparently choked out Inarritu on the set of Revenant. He walked into Inarritu's trailer and
I heard that.
wrestled him to the floor and choked him out.
Listen, man, he's an intense actor.
Well, no,
look-
he doesn't like when directors are assholes.
Did he? Inarritu probably had a call.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
I
hear-
don't like Inarritu. I'm sorry.
yeah.
I hear-
he might be a fine man, but I just
He's
find his
intense.
movies annoying.
He takes his craft seriously.
Was there a reason why in that film? Because I've seen clips, I've never watched it.
The
He's
Revenant?
wearing that
Mad Max?
that he's wearing that mask.
Yeah, he
putting
gets captured.
Yeah,
They-
he gets captured at the
and he's a
beginning.
blood bag for the guys.
Oh,
So they have him like chained up and shackled up, so he can't get out. He gets out.
oh, okay.
It's great. You should.
So
I
we're
have it
at
on. I'll let you
2015?
borrow it. It's
No, I'm on DVD
outstanding.
now.
Talk about music too, and that with the
Yeah,
it's just
Yeah.
full throttle the entire time. It's
Yeah.
it's Charlie's Angels 2 full throttle. Just
Yeah, it's Speed 2 Cruise Control.
Oh.
yeah. Yeah. You know, there's also what's the movie he did with Shia LaBeouf? Lawless.
Love it.
I great movie. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess
Shia LaBeouf knocked him out. Yeah.
yeah, but they were like wrestling naked and stuff like that, and like
I am so mad that Shia LaBeouf tricked us with Honey Boy.
yeah,
What a bastard.
yeah.
How do you trick us?
Well, I mean, it came out
Yeah, I
like
liked
a
it.
year after that Shia LaBeouf is kind of a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And then like recently he was like, yeah, that was all lies.
Yeah.
My dad wasn't like that.
On the John Bernthal podcast
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, man. Thanks.
That's a huge disappointment to me because I was on the Shia train from like Charlie Countryman, Lawless.
I was too.
Yeah, I thought he was just the most talented actor. My brothers were like
Whoops.
ripping on me.
He's in something new.
Fury, he was great in Fury.
He was just signed on to something new.
Yeah,
He's
the
in an
Padre
Abel
Pio.
Ferrara movie.
Yeah.
That's not really a big deal anymore.
No, I thought there was
Yeah.
something. bigger.
Nicolas Cage is the only one who survived being in an
What
Abel
movie
Ferrara
was-
movie.
What movie is that? You're talking
Padre
Padre
Pio.
Pio.
Abel Ferrara still makes good movies, but like he makes them like in his apartment.
No,
in
there
Rome.
wasn't.
It's
There,
not
I
like
wouldn't
a-
have Googled that though.
So I gotta cut out two guys.
No, you don't.
Yeah, why?
Why?
Why are you on the chat?
You bored of us?
You're not on the chat.
No.
Exactly. You gotta talk us out anyway. My camera's dying.
All right. All right, talk us out and we'll stay in
It's
here.
over. And I'll do an outro for the extra podcast. I hope you enjoyed Caffeinated Librarians After Hours. Stay breezy.
We really should do something like that. I think that would be fun. I mean, I know Joe has to edit all this, but
Oh,